When I say the word farm and farmer protest, which is the first country that comes to your mind? For most of you, it would obviously be India. But no, we are not talking about India today. We are talking about one of the richest countries in the world, that is the Netherlands. The Netherlands is facing huge farmer protests against the government since October 2019. And it is not just Netherlands. Many countries around Europe, some of the richest and the most prosperous nations in the world, are actually facing farmer protests on a very large scale. So today we'll be discussing what exactly is the story that is happening in Netherlands, what is it that the government has done that the farmers don't like, and is there a way forward? Now please understand, when we talk about Netherlands, Netherlands is the second largest exporter of agricultural commodities around the entire world after United States. So much so that the agricultural export alone is over 50 billion euros. It is a huge number. However, something changed in October 2019. What exactly was that? The government of Netherlands was worried about the nitrogen emissions that take place because of the agricultural and livestock activities. So what did the government do? The government made an aim that by 2030 we will reduce these nitrogen emissions to half. And for that, they bought a lot of these farmland from private farmers. So the private farmers were given the money and the government of Netherlands bought this land. And what did they do after that? Nothing. They just shut down the land. So the aim of the government was that by 2030, they will reduce the number of livestock in Netherlands by half and they will reduce the farm production also considerably. Because they wanted to achieve the goal of cutting down nitrogen emissions. This has not gone down well with the farmers in the Netherlands. Now with India, you would have seen a very familiar sight of farmers bringing out their tractors blocking the highways. Believe this, the same is happening in Netherlands, where the farmers are blocking the highways. There are more than 2,000 farmers that have come out on the highways with their tractors and have blocked the entire way. They have in fact started raising slogans such as "No farmers, no food." How dare you? These are some of the slogans that have become very famous. Now, interestingly, Netherlands is not the only European country facing such protests. There have been protests going on in Austria, Sweden, and other very rich European countries. The interesting part is, all these countries have their own issues. It is not the same issue that is going around. However, the farmers across Europe are in distress due to various reasons and they are helping each other in different countries to raise their voice. Let's see what are the reasons that is pushing farmers towards all this protest. For example, in Germany and France, two of the most prosperous and richest nations in Europe, both the governments are now planning to cut back on the subsidies, especially given on diesel fuel. Now, as you know, in India also, the government in the past few years has cut down the subsidy given on diesel fuel. Diesel is a fuel that is used to run these tractors and heavy farm machinery. The farmers in Germany and France are protesting against it. Then take the case of Poland. Countries such as Poland in Eastern Europe were used to importing cheap food grains from Ukraine. Ever since Ukraine-Russia war has begun, there have been a lot of restrictions on the food grains coming in from Ukraine. First, the food production in Ukraine was disrupted. Then Russia threatened that we will not allow these food grains to go to other countries. And now, even when the food grains are coming in, they are actually cheap food grains which the local farmers don't like. The local farmers now in Europe, such as Poland and other countries, think that because of these cheap grains coming in from Europe, their own production is going into losses. So there is a lot of factors that are now involved here in this Pandora box. Ever since the Ukraine-Russia war began, Europe thought that the war will not go on for such a long time. Now please understand this. Europe had been the beneficiary of importing a lot of cheap gas from Russia. Most of the gas from Russia went to Europe and Europe used it for various purposes. Now that Europe had put sanctions on Russia, they can't import this gas. This becomes a problem. While they have found out other sources to import these energy products, but it is coming at a higher price, and that becomes a problem because it is increasing the input cost for the farmers as well, along with increasing the cost of living for common households across Europe. And it is not just Russia. Take the case of Belarus as well. Belarus, one of the few European countries that is still under kind of dictatorship, very close friend of Russia. Belarus has also been put under sanctions by other European countries. Now the interesting part is Belarus and Russia together make up about 40% export of potash. So a lot of fertilizers, a lot of input that the farmers require in Europe actually come from Russia and from Belarus. Because of these sanctions, even that input cost for the farmers has increased considerably. First, it was a COVID-19 crisis, because of which the input cost had increased, and now these restrictions. Now the usual option is to look towards other countries, and this is where China comes in. China is also one of the largest exporters of fertilizers in the entire world, but interestingly, the Chinese government also put restrictions on export of fertilizers. They want their fertilizers to be mainly used for their own production rather than going outside. That is why in May 2022, the price of fertilizer in the international market reached an all-time high. That added to the worries of farmers in Europe, along with the problem of slow industrial growth that we have been seeing since the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what exactly are these governments doing? So last year, April 2023, countries such as Hungary, Poland, they imposed import restrictions or import bans on certain sensitive products. So for example, Hungary thought that we will not import the products that our own farmers can produce, so that we can give a push to their own marketing. This is something that has started to work well, but it's a very slow process. Interestingly, we recently had the election in the European Parliament, and the new European Parliament has been constituted. Now the farmers will have to see whether the new European Parliament will be ready to accept their demands or not. Interesting times ahead. This was an important topic for PSIR Optional and IR in general as well. As you know, I've been running multiple courses now. I've started these courses on my own app. You can download my app from the Google Play Store. The name of the app is Harshmeet Study Circle. You will find courses such as the PSIR Comprehensive Course for 2025 and the PSIR Test Series for 2024. I'm also running a mains answer writing one-on-one guidance program. You can join that as well. Apart from buying the essay booklet that I've written for you, which has 101 model essays. All that information is on my app. Do download that from the Google Play Store. Thank you so much for watching this. Bye-bye. Jai Hind.